Hey everybody, how are you? It's Katty Lice again from Beautifully Rooted, a Christian mental health and education corporation, and also co-host of the Rooted and Edified Show, which is a conservative Christian podcast that my hubby and I do together, Manny Elias, and we have an awesome time in doing that, so I hope you will check that out. Now today, I wanted to talk to you, those of you who are dating. I wanted to discuss a couple of questions that my husband and I asked each other when we were dating that I think were really helpful to know whether we were on the same page, and it made it really easy to know whether we should get married or not. Now, I should let you know that my husband and I met, and we were both at a place in our life that God brought us together at this particular time in our lives where each of us individually did not feel like we needed to be in a relationship at that exact moment. So when we met, our first dates were really us being ourselves. We were almost exactly who we are now to this day. That's who we were. We've grown since then, hopefully, but we were ourselves. We said what we thought. We didn't try to have some sort of facade. We didn't try to make the other person feel better. We didn't try to live up to the other person's standards. We just really were ourselves. And because we didn't feel the pressure to be in a relationship, we were able to just ask questions to each other that were our deal breakers, and we were able to answer them, and we were willing to walk away if we needed to. And that was really helpful because neither one of us wanted to be in a bad relationship, and so we were willing to be frank with each other. We were willing to be ourselves, and we were at the same time so excited to learn about the other person. So our first dates were really kind of like an interview. Now, it wasn't still like a job interview. It was very exciting. It was a lot of fun. It was something we really enjoyed, but it definitely was asking a lot of questions to find out about the other person. The cool thing is we were excited to learn about the other person, so it didn't come off odd or not organic or anything like that. It just was a lot of questions, and we were excited to learn about the other person. Now, this is what I recommend. I think it's so helpful, and you really want to check this out. When you're dating, the goal is not to change the person you're dating so that they're the perfect person for you to marry. The goal is not for you to manipulate the person that you're dating so that they have the same thinking as you do. Your goal in dating is to learn as much as you can about the other person to make a decision and find out, are we a really great match? Thankfully, praise God, my husband and I are an excellent match. And we found that out in dating. We found that out very quickly because we went straight to the questions. Your job is to ask questions, and the person you're dating, they're gonna love it because people love to talk about themselves. They love that you're interested in them specifically, and your job is to ask questions and more qualifying questions to see, or more questions that would help you understand them better, understand their thinking, understand their behaviors, find out what they believe about stuff, where they're at in their faith, all those things. Your job is to ask those questions and to just observe, to listen and observe. Your dating partner should think, man, this person is an awesome listener. My husband did, and he found out later that I like to talk too. But your job is to really listen and observe what they tell you. And you don't have to offer a whole bunch of information about yourself first so that they can lie and try to make up a facade. You just ask the questions and see what they say. Be willing to walk away if you need to, but just go into it thinking, I really want to learn about this person. And you check out your deal breakers and you see if they line up. And if they do, awesome. That is wonderful. And if they don't, well, then you might need to walk away, or you might need to figure something out. For us, thankfully, we laid all of our deal breakers down right away and without pressure, but we just checked those out to see if they matched, and they did. And I will tell you, I believe that our marriage is so much easier because we already are aligned in our thinking, and it's not something we had to try to convince the other person on. So I'm going to give you some of the questions that we asked each other that you might or might not think about to ask in dating that are important, I think, when it comes to marriage. And if you're in alignment, if you're naturally already thinking in the same way, then you're not going to have arguments about that because you're already on the same page and you believe the same. So, and the answers to these questions can be variable for each person. The point is not necessarily what is your answer to the question versus another answer to the question. What you're looking for is, do you match in those answers to the questions? Are they compatible? Are they the same? Are they workable? So let's jump into some of the questions here. So we asked the basics, of course, these things you already know. Hey, do you want to be married? If you were to find somebody that you really just thought was awesome and they're believers and you just thought, yes, this could work, do you want to get married? Of course. Why even waste your time if it's somebody who doesn't eventually want to be married? That doesn't make sense if you want to be married. We asked, of course, do you want children? If you already have children, do you want more? You check that out. Those are deal breakers. If one of you wants kids, the other one doesn't, it's not going to work. So, other questions for us, deal breakers were, do you smoke? Do you drink? Now, for me, a deal breaker is not that you drink, but that you don't need to drink, or that's not your source of fun. And my husband felt the same exact way. So on all those things, we felt the same exact way. So here are some questions that might be interesting for you to consider as you're dating and to ask. How do you feel about guy night or girl night? How do you feel after work or whatever? How do you feel about going out at nighttime with your guy friends and with your girlfriends? If you're a girl, with your female friends, and if you're a guy, with your guy friends. Or how about things like, how do you feel about happy hour after work if there's a co-ed team that goes out? The point is that you want to look at, do you each think the same? If you do, there's not going to be a big argument, but you might be very surprised about that because these kind of things come up when you are married. Second question, how do you feel about, when you're married, about taking vacations separately? You think that's a okay thing to do? Is that something that for sure you wouldn't want your spouse to do? You think it's healthy for the relationship, or you think it's not healthy? What do you feel? What are your beliefs on spouses taking vacations separately? Third, how do you feel about friends of the opposite sex? What are you comfortable with? What are you uncomfortable with? What do you think is good for marriage and okay? And what do you think is not good for marriage and what's not okay? Now, don't fall into the trap of there's different rules when you're dating and then all of a sudden it's going to change. You don't want to spring surprises on your spouse after your wedding day. You should be who you are before marriage so they know who they're marrying, and vice versa as well. And then it works very well. Okay. Number, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. If I was invited somewhere, would you want to go with me? Would you want to do things together as a couple? Or do you prefer to stay home? Or do you think that two people in a marriage are good to have independent lives and then it comes together at certain points? Or do you think that most things we would do together? When we get invited to social events, family stuff, friend things, you want to check out. Because this is where you want to find out, are we both homebodies? Are we both extroverted, outgoing? Is it one or the other? One likes to stay home and one likes to go out. Do they feel fulfilled and satisfied, I should say, when they're accompanied by their spouse wherever they go? Are they embarrassed if their spouse is not there? Or is the other spouse like, no, you go ahead. I'm totally fine. I prefer to stay home and I'm glad you have fun. You really want to check these things out. Where are you each at? So now let's look at the next question. 1, 2, 3, 4. I numbered these kind of funny here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. What do you think, so number 5, about dating after marriage? Not dating other people, obviously, crazy people. Looking at us dating each other, spouses dating each other. What do you think about that? Do you think it's good for married couples to go on dates after they marry? Do you think it's not really needed? What does that look like? What about with kids? Like, what do you think about that? How important is it to you that as a couple in marriage that we would go on dates? I want to check that out. Next, this is an interesting question. And I want you to check it out. I'm sure that I've mentioned it before, but I'll reiterate it here or repeat it here. if we were married, if we decided, hey, we're awesome, we're great to get married, and we get married, and for some reason we have trouble, and we just can't really fix it ourselves or solve it ourselves, or we just keep butting heads, and it's just not going well, would you be willing to go to counseling to fix it? Would you be willing to go to a couples counseling, marriage counseling, to address it? Now, this doesn't mean that you must go to marriage counseling or that counseling is the best fit for everyone and solves all problems. That's not the point. That's not why you're asking. You're asking to find out really this person that you're dating, if you were married to them, would they be willing to do whatever it took to address the issues in your marriage and to try to work on it and for things to get better? Are they invested in, if there were problems, in doing whatever was needed to improve your relationship? How invested would they be? So you may find some other solution. You may not even have those issues that you need to go to couples counseling, and you may not. Maybe couples counseling will be helpful, and then maybe there's some other solution that might be helpful. The point is not so much the counseling aspect in its own, but it is good to know so that you can know that that's always on the table if necessary. But really the point is, are they willing to do whatever it took? Do they care about your marriage so much, about the marriage that they have, that they would be willing to do whatever it took? Okay, next. And lastly, how would your family and friends describe you? And what would they say is your worst trait? Now, you can start off with what's your best trait, but hopefully that's probably what they will share when you say, how would your family and friends describe you? They're usually not going to say something, hopefully they'll say something positive. If they say something negative, you should pay attention if that's the first thing they go to. But ask them, what would they say is your worst trait? Here you're checking out how honest are they, how much insight do they have to themselves, and you're also looking from the scope of other people, as far as they can tell you, how do they assess the person that you're dating. It's very important. Just on a side note, when you meet the person you're dating, when you meet their friends and they tell you about the person you're dating, would you listen? Unless they are very covetous and jealous types or really negative types, you need to listen to what they say, because their friends and family probably have the best assessment and are the most honest with you. So if they joke about, oh, I can't believe you're going with this guy XYZ, you need to listen and pay attention and check out if that is true and what you need to do about that. You're also checking out to see how honest is the person you're dating, how much insight do they have to themselves and about their good traits and their bad traits. And then I guess I'll add on one here that's not even on this list, which I've gone over before, which is you want to check in with them about how much do they care about growing. Is growing important to you as a person? Do you feel pretty good as you are? Do you have space to grow? Are you willing to do what it takes to grow? How important is growth to you on your own, personally? Is that a goal for you, is to grow? Is that something that you want to do all through life? Or you think that you're fine pretty much the way you are? These are really important questions, and I think that they can really give you insight into how well matched you and your spouse, potential spouse, might be, or the person you're dating, and find out whether you should continue dating or not. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that you have a wonderful evening, and may God bless you. Please don't forget to follow and like and subscribe. We've got Instagram, we've got Facebook, and YouTube. So check us out there at Rooted Near the Stream and at Rooted and Edified. All right, God bless you. Bye-bye.